Now, the 12 principles, those go into more detail. And the first one is continuous delivery of valuable software. Satisfy the customer. In other words, serve whoever you've deemed to serve through early and continuous, meaning all the time, delivery of valuable software. And that doesn't mean ship a build to the testing team, to the product management team. It means to the customer. Welcome changing requirements. And again, deliver working software frequently. Business people and developers working together instead of having handoffs. Building projects around motivated individuals, giving them the environment and support that they need. Recognizing that the most efficient and effective method to convey information is direct face-to-face conversation. And of course, even if you're remote, video calls, direct face-to-face and not just emails or tickets. Making sure that as you're measuring progress, you're measuring working software, not just activity. And then sustainable development, always being sustainable, not death marches, not working nights and weekends. That's not sustainable. And then technical excellence. Number 9, there's so many teams that lack the attention to technical excellence and good design. And then 10, kind of counterintuitive, simplicity is essential, meaning maximizing the amount of work not done, meaning getting creative and saying, we can accomplish that objective. We don't actually need to do this. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do this. Okay. And then 11 is self-organizing teams and putting all the right people in the team. And then 12 is where retrospectives come from at regular intervals. Tune and adjust. Not just lament or talk about the problems, but actually tune and actually adjust and be empowered to do so. Now, what is DevOps? There's been a number of people who've written about the more informal history of the dawn of DevOps, because there is no DevOpsmanifesto.org website like there is with the manifesto for Agile software development. It's a little bit more informal. But there's a video online by Damon Edwards, and he provides a quick overview, and we can share that if anyone's interested. But it's pretty easy to search online. In short, there was a group of people who were unhappy about how servers and infrastructure were being treated, while code had moved to shorter iterative cycles because of the adoption of that principle of Agile. And so at the O'Reilly Velocity Conference in 2009, 2 gentlemen, John Allspall and Paul Hammond from Flickr, which is owned by Yahoo, presented a presentation called 10 Deploys in a Day, Dev and Ops Cooperation at Flickr. And then later, someone who connected with them, Patrick Dubois, organized a conference named DevOps Days, but his original name for the conference was going to be Agile System Administration. So the origin of DevOps was conversations figuring out how to apply Agile principles to system administration. But he thought that title was a little bit clunky, and dev and ops were kind of put together. But from the beginning, DevOps is an extension of the Agile movement and establishes ways to apply the Agile values and principles to systems, infrastructure, and servers and all that. It's not a replacement of Agile or a competitor. It's the application of Agile to servers and infrastructure and network and cloud and all that. So this enables us to speak more simply about these prominent buzzwords and what they actually are. So let's talk about why all projects that use them don't succeed. And it's because of leadership. And you, as the ones attending this webinar, you are leaders. So yeah, it kind of comes back to you. Agile, and by extension DevOps, has a solution for communication and alignment and quality and stability and team effectiveness, but to put them in place and reinforce them takes leadership. So, there's a lot of teams that have disengaged executive oversight, and the teams might report that they're using Agile, but it's a name only. They might report that they've adopted DevOps, but it's a name only. And then, an executive that's not so engaged is kind of left to conclude that because of this, and because the project's not really going like they wanted it to, that okay, Agile and DevOps don't work. Well, in reality, they weren't actually applied, or they were applied in a very partial manner, in a more shallow sense. And so, in that case, that's kind of to be expected. Back in 2001, Agile was radically different, and it's still actually radically different today, and still difficult to apply today because it kind of fights traditional organizational structures. In a lot of cases, it can affect almost the whole organization. It's hard to do. It ruffles feathers. So if the agile adoption has, quote, happened without causing any kind of turmoil in other parts of the organization outside the software team, then it probably hasn't actually happened, and agile probably hasn't actually been adopted, and you should investigate into that. Check into it. You can inspect how each of the 12 agile principles was implemented. You can look to see if there's a training program that all staff were put through to train them on what the heck agile is, and then of course how those principles are applied to infrastructure, if the team is reporting that DevOps is being used.